Good morning, everyone. It's so great to be back for the second Founders Day and Alumni Reunion celebration. I would first like to express my gratitude to BSM for having me, and on behalf of my family, we are thankful for all your support. Today, I'd like to share how a holistic education from BSM and the university positively impacted me on my creative journey as a composer. I hope that through this, you can continue to support BSM's arts community. My pivotal moment was in year 10, taking IGCSE music and creating my first set of compositions. My music teacher at that time, Miss Wood, saw my potential and challenged me to compose my first ever film score. I fell in love with Hans Zimmer's score for the film Inception. And taking inspiration from his score, I composed my first ever orchestral piece entitled Moments. I'll never forget the feeling of writing this piece. It felt like discovering a part of myself that I didn't know existed. I wrote without feeling pressured, just based on my intuition and curiosities. I also didn't really think much of my compositions back then, other than just as a requirement for class. However, without my knowledge, Miss Wood showed my composition to my parents behind my back. They were shocked that I never showed it to them. And at that time, I was actually interested in taking up pharmacology. But my parents just knew that this wasn't in my heart. Instead, they were the ones who actually insisted I take up music for college. So, with their support, I spent my final 2 years focusing and preparing my portfolio for applications to conservatories and universities. Unfortunately, at that time, IB music wasn't available to me. Nonetheless, my parents and I pursued the next best option: simultaneously take the IB diploma and pursue music outside of school through private composition lessons and ABRSM exams. BSM was very supportive, especially Miss Perpy Heath and Mr. Boyd Sabas. I would even remember visiting Perpy's room probably more often than the guidance counselor seeking for advice on where to apply. Mr. Sabas taught me how to conduct and entrusted me to conduct my compositions with the school orchestra. I must admit, it was quite tricky at first balancing IB and music. There were even times where I questioned why I wasn't solely focused on my music. But I still applied, auditioned, and fortunately received offers and scholarships from schools in the United States. I ultimately chose to attend the University of Southern California for its location being situated in the heart of the entertainment industry. Even when I first visited the campus, something felt right, like I could belong. In college, my schedule was reversed, of course. Most of my classes were music-related. But surprisingly enough, I found myself creatively burning out quicker with the schedule. However, when I started adding non-music-related classes to my course load, they helped me get out of my musical headspace and find inspiration again. So, throughout college, I made the effort of exploring my interests outside of music, joining different clubs, taking classes outside of my major, and also simply embracing and enjoying life. After all these years, I realized why IB was so valuable to me. We benefit from a holistic education as multifaceted people. Throughout IB, I loved taking history with Mr. Cliff and English Langlit with Mr. Barker. Looking back, I actually see some similarities between music and these subjects. Because of Langlit, I became more aware of structure and form and learned how to communicate my ideas with intention in my music. Like how historians study and analyze events, it's also important to study music history, how historical events and figures influence the arts. Similarly, in my own works, I take inspiration from my own life experiences in crafting my own narratives. I'd like to end with my final thoughts. Firstly, BSM and its holistic education have positively impacted my musical journey. These subjects, Whether it's math, science, history, they are all interrelated in learning, fostering creativity, and our development as humans. For instance, math's concepts of fraction helps musicians understand time signatures. Physics helps us understand the physical properties of sound waves like frequency, amplitude, and vibrations. Secondly, in any career, it's just as important to spend time living life as it is creating art or pursuing your profession. Interactions, experiences, and knowledge from things in our world fuel our inspiration and motivate us. As artists, they give us the urge to express and communicate. Learning is a lifelong journey, extending beyond the classroom and comes from real-life human experiences. Lastly, I hope that you continue supporting, funding, and being involved in BSM's arts community. BSM has been more than just a school to me. It's been a playground of ideas, a lab for experimenting, and a place where I belong. Children deserve the chance to explore, be curious, and create at their age, especially now that it's their prime age of creativity. American writer Julie Garwood once said, "Education isn't just about feeding the brain. Art and music feed the heart and soul." The world is hungry for new voices now more than ever. So let's create, feed, and inspire. Thank you all for listening.